We're here not only to talk about, we're here to talk about hockey, but in a very unique way. We're here to talk about a fundraiser that you have, or that we have coming up this weekend for a community member. Let's talk about, before we get into the actual events itself, talk about who this community member is and what this is all about.
The community member is Jake Thomas. He's a resident of Bracebridge. He's the owner of the Applause toy stores all over Muskoka. There's one in Gravenhurst, Bracebridge, Huntsville. He's a father of 4 with children between the age of, I think his youngest son is 7, oldest son would be 12 or 13.
Oh, wow.
But he's out in the community all the time. He's a very proactive community member with his businesses and helping out in any way he can. And he's been with minor hockey for years as a volunteer and coach. So he suffered an accident that I'm sure we'll talk about, that minor hockey feels that it owes it to this member to give back to him.
So just for viewers that are tuning in and who may not know, I mean, he's well known in the community, but
Yes.
but what happened to him, and where is he at this point?
He's a very active individual between skiing and wakeboarding and snowmobiling, and unfortunately 3 weeks ago, just outside Bracebridge, he was in a snowmobile accident which left him with multiple injuries, including 7 broken ribs, dislocated hip, and what's a T12 burst fracture, which I think is how they explain it to. It's a spinal cord injury which has left him paralyzed from the waist down. So that's what he's going through now. He was in ICU, airlifted down to Toronto. He's now at I think it's the Lyndhurst facility for rehabilitation for spinal cord injuries, and he's hoping to be back in February, late February maybe.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Now, I mean, so this was you say he had a major involvement, volunteer, even off air, we were talking about his volunteerism with the Hockey Association. So what is it that you wanted to give back? You talked about, we wanted to do our part to give back. How are you doing that?
So what we have organized, it started out, there's not much minor hockey can do. So what we did was we talked to the town of Bracebridge, and we got an hour and a half or an hour and 15 minutes of ice. And we figured, you know what, with Jake's love of hockey, we'll donate an hour and a half of ice for whoever wants to come out and skate. There's no fee to go skating. And then following that ice time, our major midget Bears play Huntsville in a playoff game. Mm-hmm. And following that, the Bantam Bears play Huntsville in a playoff game. So we collect gate fees to watch those games, we figured we'd donate 100% of the gate fees and any donations for who does show up to go skating to the Thomas family. Now it's since grown to before the public skate, because our novice and Atom teams are now playing Huntsville teams. There's 2 more games that have been added.
Oh, wow, cool.
So there's 4 games in total. It's turning into an event that's going to start at 11:45 at the Bracebridge Arena, and it will end at approximately 7:45 at night. There's now a silent auction element to it, where unsolicited, a few businesses reached out to us with items that they wanted to auction off and donate to Jake. So hopefully the Bracebridge Arena holds 1,500 people. We're hoping over the course of the day we get 1,500 people in there.
Absolutely. Skate for Jake is what it's called.
Yes.
And that's when, on the Sunday?
That is this coming Sunday, yes.
Yeah. Wow. So how do you feel about, I mean, you started off as something small and little, but now it's grown. How does this make you feel, as a community member, that all these people are coming together? How does Jake feel about it?
Jake's really excited about it. I've talked to him on a regular basis. He's a bit of a micromanager, and he is obviously bored where he's at. Yeah. So it's good. He was the first one. When he found out about it and found out we were doing it, he used a contact for Pizzaville. So Pizzaville's coming with some free pizza during the skate for everybody. And at the same thing, wanted to know what he could do and who he could talk to and to make it an event. And he's definitely excited and happy that he cannot believe, there's a GoFundMe page for him. He cannot believe the amount of support he has, and he realizes he has lots of friends around, but it's at a time like this, you don't realize how many friends you have until something like this happens.
Well, so why do you think there's such a response to this? We talked a little bit about this character,
Yeah,
this
so
Jake character.
I'll tell you the quick story I told you off air, which and it goes to explain what type of guy Jake is. I've known him for 6 or 7 years because our kids are in class together and have played hockey together. But as the president of the Hockey Association, I have to deal with complaints all the time. So Sunday morning, 3 days after his accident, I was reading a complaint from a parent who was complaining about volunteering and complaining about having to put time in and how they had done enough over the years and minor hockey needed to change and there needed to be a different system. And of course, stuff like that gets me riled up. And then the very next email was from Jake from his ICU ward in the hospital down in Toronto 3 days after his accident. And he was writing apologizing about not being able to finish the year out in his volunteer position as a coach and wanted to know what else he could do for the kids and how sad he was that he wasn't going to be able to see everybody on the ice again, and whether coaches wanted him to plan practices or if the managers needed someone to communicate to parents what was going on. And it just goes to speak to anyone who knows him or has come across him, always has a smile on his face, always willing to give you the shirt off his back. He's that type of guy. So right away, when I got that letter, we approached our board, and our scheduler, Kevin Babcock, came up with the idea of why don't we get a skate together and plan a couple games and see what we can do. And then it's grown from that. Hopefully it'll be a good time. And we hope to live stream it down to him so he can see everybody out there.
It sounds like it's going to be a good event. He's also the son of a pretty famous guy, isn't he?
Well, I didn't know that. A folk singer. Is it Ian Thomas? Your producer might know. And then the nephew of Dave Thomas, one of the McKenzie brothers.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
that's I'd be proud.
You never know who you have in your community, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So, well, thank you so much for coming in. It sounds like it's going to be a great event, not only like for the hockey side, of course. Come on, it's going to be some really great hockey, but for the fundraising side as well. And I have a feeling it's going to be really great.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. It'll be
so
a good time.
Sunday, Sportsplex?
Bracebridge Arena.
Bracebridge Arena. Okay,
Yes.
yeah. So Sunday, Bracebridge Arena, and it starts from when to when?
The first game starts, the novices play at 11:45. The Adams play at 1. The free skate is from 2 till 3:15. And then the big games, the midgets are on at 3:45 and the Bantams are on at 5:45. Every game is South Muskoka versus Huntsville. For 3 of the 4, it'll be the second game of the playoffs, and one is a game 4 of the playoffs. So,
What better way? What better way?
It's going to be exciting hockey for sure.
It's definitely going to be exciting hockey.